बोलो।
Hello.
Hi, good morning, Karan sir. Sir, you are not audible. Sir, you are muted, I guess.
Yeah, good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay. Now, what about the slides? I share it from here or should I send you?
So you can share it from your laptop only.
Okay, okay, lovely, lovely.
So we'll begin shortly.
Yeah, I know that, I know that. I just came early just to sure that I'm on the right wave frequencies.
Yeah.
Acha, Facebook also you're showing or what?
Yes, sir, it will be live on Facebook as well as YouTube.
So Facebook, what is the link?
So link, I'll tell my team to share it on the chat.
Okay, okay, lovely. Yeah. So how many people have registered?
So that information I don't have currently. But
Okay.
the participants will be around like 30 to 40. I'm
Okay,
expecting.
okay. I think they are still testing, looks like.
Yes. So how is everything else there?
Good. I was yesterday in another meeting, so we are paying tribute to the man who made National Facility for Animal Tissue Culture Collections.
Oh, nice.
He passed away about 9 days back. So in his
Mm-hmm.
honor, I had organized because we have been old friends. So it will come on YouTube.
Yes. So I guess we are ready to start.
Okay.
Good morning, Professor Kannan. Nice to see you here.
Good morning. Good morning. I
No,
called you the other day. I think you were
yeah.
probably busy. You have been too busy, looks like.
Good morning, Shweta. Thank you
Good
for
morning, sir.
inviting.
Good morning, sir. Thank you for joining us, sir.
It's always a pleasure to join and learn new things. Himanshi and Rudra, good morning.
Hi, good morning, sir. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Vaishali, can we start?
Are you waiting for Mr. Love Agarwal at what time he will be joining?
Sir, he'll be joining within 10 minutes, I think, but we'll begin with Saraswati Vandana and also that we are on time.
Okay, fine.
Mehra sir has joined, Rudra.
Yes, ma'am.
You take your time. Okay, it's fine. Like as you are scheduled. So now we are here on your disposal for next 90 minutes.
Yeah, Vaishali, we can begin, I think, now.
Hello everyone, good morning. I, Vaishali Tyagi, welcomes you all in the inaugural session of National Conference on Life Sciences and Healthcare Management. Starting off, as per our tradition, let us enlighten ourselves with the lightning of lamp with Mata Saraswati Vandana. Now I request Dr. Shweta Singh, founder and chairperson, CIIR Noida, to address the gathering and also open the conference.
Thank you so much, Vaishali. Good morning to all dignitaries present here. I welcome our chief guest, Sri Lava Agarwalji, and our guest of honor, Sri Kuwar Virjendra Shekharji, along with our keynote speakers and invited guest speakers. Council of Industrial Innovation and Research, CIR, has organized today one-day international conference on life sciences and healthcare management with the support and in association with Shobit University, Meerut. CIR is the leading research and innovation organization and is known for its think tank innovation pool and for cutting edge R&D activities which we are starting very soon in a various has pool of innovators and scientists working on futuristic innovation for societal development. CIR, the main mantra lies in innovation, technology, intellectual property rights, and entrepreneurship. CIR focuses on handholding of various academics and research institutions for futuristic and state-of-art technology and innovation to strengthen the innovative ecosystem of the country with aligned vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. CIR also provides platform to exchange dialogues and thoughts among the researchers, academicians, and innovators for creating a better and innovative society. We all know that health and education plays a vital role in the growth and development of any country. India, under the leadership of our Prime Minister, Sir, has played a critical role worldwide during the COVID time. Advances in the life sciences research are inevitable, linked to the improvement of human, plant, and animal health. Conducted research in life sciences can foster global health security and contribute to the economic development, evidence-informed policy making, public trust, and above all, confidence in science. Considering these facts, CIR and Shobit University Meerut decided to organize a national conference on life sciences and healthcare management and bring the best brains from country to discuss it, and the speaker present today. And thanks all the speakers and guest of honor and chief guests for joining, accepting our request and joining this program today. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I request Dr. R.N. Bayal, sir, conference chairman, to deliver the opening remark.
Good morning to everyone present on this platform right now. As conference chairman, I welcome all the guests, participants at the second NEAST conference on life sciences and healthcare management. NEAST stands for National Conference on Engineering, Arts, Science and Technology. The theme, life sciences and healthcare management, has been carefully chosen to make the conference more relevant to the present times the world has been going through. However, we believe in taking small steps to bring back everything to normalcy, and there must be adequate research work, quality research work, healthcare management. Talking about the term research, I would say it is nothing but a detailed study on a particular problem or concern, primarily on societal issues in our surroundings. Quality research provides solutions to these problems through scientific and validated methods. And the main objective of research is to explore the unknown and unlock the new possibilities. Talking about the term life sciences, it is the branch of science that involved in the scientific study of life, such as microorganisms, plants, animals, including human beings. More elaborately, this domain of science concerned with the study of living organisms such as microbiology, botany, zoology, physiology, biochemistry, and other related subjects. For the budding researchers, there is a question: why should I pursue a career in life sciences? The answer would be the pursuit to any scientific striving is noble, but life sciences are particularly special. The reason are obvious. As they say, the study of life sciences is extremely valuable. It provides decisive insights to disease processes, allows the development of novel therapeutics, curatives, and innovative medical devices, thereby directly improving the human health. Life sciences also enables an understanding of the environment and the other living species with whom we share the earth. This knowledge guides conservation efforts and literally helps us to save our shared planet. The second part of the conference theme is healthcare management. According to WHO, a health system, also called as a healthcare system, consists of all organizations, people, and actions whose primary intent is to promote, restore, and maintain health. This includes efforts to influence determinants of health as well as more direct activities that improve health. A health system is therefore much more than the pyramid of publicly owned facilities. A well-functioning healthcare system work in harmony, which actually built on having trained and motivated health workers, a well-maintained infrastructure, and a reliable supply of medicines and technologies. Today, the concern, the curiosity, the demand for life sciences and healthcare management is at all-time high. There is no doubt about it. Dear all, this conference is being conducted remotely as the situation was not favorable when we first conceived the idea of this event. Intellectuals from different areas of life sciences and healthcare management will be connected with us today, sharing their thoughts, knowledge, and opinions. The major outcome that we expect from this conference is to discuss what are the main priorities and challenges in the years to come. And another objective is the collaboration of research scholars from different places at a common platform to address complex problems and to promote new technologies. Finally, this is my privilege to thank all the guests, participants for connecting or joining with us today. I hope in our future ventures, programs, activities, and real-time projects, you will show the same enthusiasm, willingness, love, affection towards us. With this, I conclude my talk. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for introducing us to our advisor, CIR, and Chief Patron to say a few words.
Yeah, good morning to everyone, the whole team who is organizing this national conference. Dr. Rudra, the chairman of the conference, Dr. Ayush, and other team members, and Vaishali, who is conducting this meeting, this conference.
Thank you, sir.
First of all, I'm grateful to the Chancellor of Shobit University. I know he is very busy, very busy schedule, and still he is sparing his most valuable time with us. And it is also known to us that the blessings of the Chancellor, sir, is always there with VIP. And whenever Madam Shweta Singh has requested, he has gladly and quickly accepted her invitation. So, sir, we are grateful to you and we welcome you to this platform of national conference. This particular conference is the second conference organized by CIR. The first conference was on a general subject of science, technology, management, and other things. But here in this current conference, we are focusing on something which is which every one of us is aware of it, and the medical care, the health care, and health issues. And this is actually very, very important to all the people, all the human beings in the world. And certainly, this conference will bring societal benefit at large. I'm also grateful to my uh, three colleagues who are here uh, as a panelist for this conference. And two of them are from medical side. Professor Dr. Manisha Jindal, who is Dean in School of Medical Sciences Research, Sharda University. And the I'm sure that all of us know about the medical facilities available in the Sharda Hospital, which is a world-class hospital in terms of super specialty facilities. The School of Medical Science and Research, under the leadership of Professor Manisha, Dr. Manisha, Professor Jindal, has been growing ever since it started long back. Even the formation of university, Sharda University, in the year 2009. So I please, Madam, I request to accept my congratulations for your hard work, for your sincerity in developing the School of Medical Sciences and helping doctors in the hospital. So we are grateful to you that such a high eminent personality is with us today as one of the panelists in this conference. Secondly, I also thank and grateful to Dr. Professor Shaggy Lucas, who is Dean School of Allied Health Sciences, and she is also a wonderful organizer. She runs her department. Her faculty members are so motivated by her. So I'm grateful to you, madam, and that you have accepted our invitation for to be the panelist in this conference. And nonetheless, I thank Professor Bhaskar Bhattacharya, who have the opportunity to work with him for right from the beginning. I joined Sharda University in 2010. He was not only my dean or dean of school in engineering technology, but he was a very co-worker and helpful. And actually, I found a place to work in Sharda University just because of him. With God grace, we developed so many facilities in Sharda University, material research lab, and that is now a center of excellence for solar cells and renewable energy. So, Professor Bhaskar, I'm grateful to you for to be always with me and to be here in this conference as a panelist. And so, with these few words, I welcome all of you once again. I thank Shweta Singh ji, my madam. I call her my madam. I visit uh, uh, TIP thrice or 3 or 4 times in a month and discuss with the team, and whatever I could help, whatever I could guide. So thank you very much. I wish a grand success to this particular conference. Thank you all.
Vaishali, you are muted. Vaishali, you are muted.
I think Dr. Shweta, you can have a lead, and Mr. Love Agarwal has joined us. Thank you very much for joining us today morning. I understand that on a Sunday to join is really a tough job, especially for a bureaucrat who's working 24 into 7. But
Yes.
thank you for joining us. It is indeed a pleasure and honor to have you. Yeah. Shweta, you can.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm continuing. So, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining us today. We have our chief guest also here, and we have our guest of honor also here. We have our guest of Shri Honor Shri Kumar Birendra Shekharji, who is co-founder and chancellor of Shobhit University, Meerut and Gango. Whatever I talk is less for him because he is a gem of person who not only support the academicians and researchers, but the youth of this country to come across and develop, work toward innovation, entrepreneurship. I have seen that zeal that he is not a leader by himself only, but he is a person who develops the leader. He is a person who believes in making leaders for tomorrow. He is a person who works toward not only developing his own entrepreneurial ecosystem, but the country's entrepreneurial ecosystem. I'm very grateful that Sir has been always supportive to many of entrepreneurs, and Sir has been always supportive when the ecosystem is there for building innovation and entrepreneurship. So I'm very grateful to you, Sir, for joining us. Thank you.
Oh, I'm audible now? Okay. May I request our guest of honor, Shri Kuan Shekhar Vijayan Sir, Chancellor, Shobhit University, Meerut, Uttar Pradesh, to address the gathering. Kuan Shekhar Vijayan Sir is a co-founder and chancellor of Shobhit University, India, and a prominent social entrepreneur based in New Delhi, who carries leadership roles in many organizations. He is also a co-chairman, National Council on Education of ASSOCHAM, also a mentor of Center for Education Growth and Research, CEGR, the largest independent academic think tank of India. Kuan Vijayendra Sir is a president advocate of the Initiatives for Education for All Secular Values, Crisis Management through Diplomatic and Peaceful Ways, and the Globalized System of Learning and Peaceful Coexistence. He had been instrumental in the development of a number of higher education institutes, research centers, and a hospital in North India. He is very actively involved with a number of associations. Our advisor, Sri J.P. Mathur Charitable Trust, New Delhi, Chairman, Livelihood Development Research Foundation, founder, KSV Ayurved Medical College, Hospital and Research Center, and many more. But to add here, he's a passionate Gandhian, philanthropist, social speaker, and academic influencer. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, Vaishali and Dr. Shweta, for inviting me here. I was feeling happy that we are ahead of 5 minutes, but 3 minutes you took to introduce me again and again, which was not required actually. So first of all, let me congratulate CIIR for organizing a very important national conference on life sciences and healthcare management. If we look at today's scenario, challenges are there and a transformation is happening after the disruption due to COVID-19. I'm happy that today we have one of the best person who can speak on this challenge, on this issue, and who has practically seen everything, this change, what is coming in India in last 2 years. Mr. Love Agarwal, IES Joint Secretary, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare. Thank you very much for joining us, because I am doing this part also, being Shobhit University as a co-organizer in this national conference. We have seen you on TV every day briefing us about the challenges and the numbers, which were very alarming, and about speaking about that what country is doing to change the complete scenario at large. And I'm sure that your deliberations today will give us a new light to the institutions, to other fraternity, other stakeholders, that what we are doing and what has to be done more effectively. Professor Tiwari is there with us from Bhopal, and one of our advisor, academic advisor of Shobhit University, Professor Khanna. a very well-known biotechnologist who is always in favor of academia and industry coming together hand to hand. He is also there to definitely this inaugural session is going to be a very fruitful one, and it is going to bring a lot of results. So thank you everybody for joining, and thank you for inviting me. Now, like I always believe that whenever there is a disruption, a new creation starts. Because I believe in Indian mythology, there is Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh, and Brahma is the creator, Vishnu is the integrator who do the management of everything, and Shiva is the disruptor. And after every disruption, a new creation starts. The same way I feel that in health sector and life sciences, if we look at, last 2 years were very disruptive. Not many challenges. We failed on many fronts. We failed many times. We were not knowing that what has to be done. The best of the pathies, the best of the sciences, what we thought we have. I remember that in the initial first few weeks of COVID, the country, the world was looking for even the smallest thing like a mask, like PPP kits, like isolation units. And we were thinking that we are going on the Mars. We have already achieved what can be achieved on Moon. And suddenly we realized that there are limitations. We all have to work more and more in the area of life sciences and especially medical. We have to look at the basic issues first, because what happened in last few years, decades, that we decided that instead of going to the basic of science, we will start working only on the advancement of science. The basic research we stopped, the fundamental research we stopped in many of the areas, and that research which has social impact, that we stopped. We were more concerned about the impact factor of everything what we were doing. But now there is a reason that we should think again. And if I look at, so globally healthcare sector is having 6 big challenges, what we all have to address together. Health equity is very important, what we realized in last 3 years, which is not happening in India through many wonderful initiatives taken by our current government, by Honorable Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. That possibility is happening now. But globally, if we look at, there are many countries, there are many regions, there are many continents where this challenge is there, and we all have to see that how we have to address that challenge very effectively. So health equity is one of the challenge where I think we all have to work together, and working together and bringing solutions for that. Environmental, social, and governance issues we found in our health sector. They also need to be addressed. It means a multidisciplinary approach has to be there. We have to take everybody, all stakeholders together, and we have to work together in that direction. Mental health and well-being. In last 2 years, we have seen that mental health and well-being, especially mental health, stress was there. A helpline was started by Ministry of Education, Manodarpan. Health Ministry also was doing something at Shobit University, also Art Center for Psychology and Human Behavior started first of its kind psychological and mental well-being health care helpline. So mental health and well-being also has to be very integral part now of every research in institutions, in R&D labs, in our policies. Digital transformation and healthcare delivery models, they need to be addressed. Because digital transformation, when we talk about, we have to see that what it means and how in masses we can take it. I'm happy that the government is taking an initiative on telemedicine. They are talking about telemedicine. They are looking into the possibilities that how telemedicine can be for formation and delivery of healthcare facilities. It happens. I was in Uttarakhand last 3 days. I saw there that in spite of the fact that everywhere we are doing a lot of things, but when we talk to the people from the remotest villages, challenges are there. And I think those challenges, government is willing to address Now educational institutions, industry and other stakeholders, they have to come and join hands for it. Future of medical science. As I was telling in the start, that future of medical science has to be seen again, that what actually we want to achieve. We want to have robots, or we have to first see the mental health and well-being of our people. If we have to have the basic things also along with the most advanced things. At Shobit University, we have one of the faculty of biomedical sciences. I know at biomedical sciences, biomedical engineering, what we are doing, generally people are not much aware. But in last 2 years, everybody realized the importance of biotechnology, microbiology, biotechnology, so much that now people are thinking and talking about it. And in India also, we have to look into the future of medical science with a different perspective, what challenges have come with that perspective again. Public health has to be reimagined. What is public health? These are six major issues. They are global issues. It is not only in India. But I am happy that today, in this national conference, we are talking about life sciences and health care management. And definitely these 6 issues will be somehow addressed, maybe during the technical session or during the addresses of the experts. And what we have to do. I always believe industry, academia, stakeholders, government, we all are a single ecosystem. We cannot say that, no, I will work alone, you will work alone, and many times we see verticals happening. A common platform, especially in healthcare and life sciences, has to be. From industry has to see that what are the issues, what are the problems. So discover phase has to be. And that discover phase, I think industry can find a gap. Where is the gap? What are the challenges? And from that discover phase, a design phase has to start. The design phase, universities and R&D labs have to take. That yes, fine, okay, these are the gaps found in healthcare industry. These are the gaps found in life sciences. Now, okay, now we will design a solution. We will give a solution. R&D labs and educational institutions, they have to come together for this. And delivery phase, the last most important phase. Here, governments and other bodies, they have to play very important. So this 3, discover, design, and deliver. This is what exactly will change the complete scenario of healthcare sector. This is what I believe. I'm sure that today there will be more deliberations, discussions, debates, and Dr. Shweta Singh, I will request you one thing. You have wonderful speakers with you, and right from Mr. Lava Agarwal, Professor Kanan, Professor Tiwari, and many more, and Dr. Mehra, many more people will be joined. Please ensure that a white paper is submitted to all these stakeholders. Out of the findings, what findings are, so that some action can be taken, some action plan can be made. Recently, I was talking somewhere, I requested everybody in healthcare industry itself, I was talking, I said maybe we need a new healthcare policy also in this country, as new education policy, where we have to be more flexible, where we have to be more optimistic, where we have to be more futuristic and experimental. So thank you very much for inviting me. It is indeed a pleasure to be with you all. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you, sir. I'll definitely ask my team to work on your suggestion. Thank you for giving this suggestion, because we were only making the press release of this, but thank you. We'll come up with a white paper, definitely.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for your inspirational words. We are proud to have Chief Guest Shri Lava Agarwal ji, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India with us. I would like to take a moment to introduce him. Shri Lava Agarwal ji currently serving as Joint Secretary, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, is an Indian Administrative Service IAS officer who became the face of Indian government during the COVID-19 crisis. With his poised and humble response to an ever-inquisitive press at PIB National Media Center, he has become a household name in India. Since his childhood, Sir has a meritorious student and after his schooling, he went to Indian Institute of Technology, IIT Delhi, to pursue BTech in Mechanical Engineering 1989. In 1993, he graduated from IIT Delhi and started preparing for his civil services. In 1996, he cleared the UPSC examination and became an IS officer. One of his colleagues says, every crisis has a hero, and COVID-19 has made love Sir one, which is absolutely true. Sir, may I request you to say a few words to the conference and enlighten us with your wisdom?
Vaishali, I think I only feel humbled with the way you have presented and talked about me. But only thing is, I would request that I will only do my duty and as what government has assigned to me. And I think the credit goes to government of India, where first time we as bureaucrats also realized how whole of government and whole of society approach was brought in when it comes to management of a crisis of essential proportion. So thank you for kind words, and let me also thank Mr. Kumar Shekhar Vijayendra, a good friend, and Mr. Shobit, who also is a very great, good personal friend also, and Dr. Shweta, as well as Dr. Rajnarayan Tiwari ji, Professor Kannan, who have joined, Professor R. M. Mehra, and all other colleagues who have joined for this national conference on life sciences and healthcare management. It is a pleasure to be here. I would just like to sort of take on from where Shri Kumarji has mentioned the 6 points, critical points, which we need to sort of focus on when it comes to the new challenges or, the post-COVID area, what post-COVID area has put in front of us. Another point I would like to add on the top of it is also the fact that this is also the time to think for a new global health architecture. And while I talk about this, I would like to just small presentation, if agreed, just to sort of highlight, what has been our journey, and with primary focus also on the in the present state of Omicron variant, which world has seen. So, can I just get confirmation if my presentation is visible, please?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
Yeah. Thank you. So, I would just like to sort of, because, I don't want to lose an opportunity where our colleagues, our friends, and our academic fraternity can also be sort of highlighted and explained about what has happened in India when it comes to COVID-19 management. And equally important and more topical is the present phase of Omicron variant. So I would just like to sort of run it through fast so as to give a perspective through data. And maybe then in the end would like to sort of submit that what could be the opportunities for India in terms of the post-COVID area also. So as we're all aware, friends, that this was Omicron variant, which was sort of noticed in South Africa, Gauteng province on 24th of November. We have a concept in WHO where first any variant is declared as a variant of interest. And thereafter, if we find that it might be a bigger threat, then it can be declared as a variant of concern. And this generally takes months. But what I would like to submit here is that when it came to Omicron, within 2 days, WHO straight away declared it as a variant of concern. And why was it done? Is that because it had growth advantage over Delta variant, which was the earlier variant. It had 10 times more mutation than what Delta had on the spike protein, which is where the attachment with the human body takes place. So the challenge in terms of high transmissibility and possible vaccine escape was one of the major reasons which we all sort of need to plan and work for. And that is what I'm sure all of us had seen it collectively, that across the countries, across every continent, we saw a high surge in cases. Now, we are also sort of highlighting and discussing most of the time, India, Omicron has been mild. But this is something which is very critical. I would request all colleagues to kindly take note of. Omicron is mild clinically when it comes to an individual. But Omicron, if it would hit from a public health perspective the country at large, then it could have probably been the biggest challenge which India has ever faced. The point I would like to submit here that, if we take the projections done by multiple projection organizations, whether it is Indian Institute of Sciences, it said 10 lakh cases per day can happen. Whether it is IIT Kanpur, it said 4.75 lakh cases per day can happen. UIUC and IIT Delhi talking about as high as 16 lakh cases per day. Let us leave these projections ahead for the time being. Let us understand what world has shown to us. Let us take example of France. France population is 6.7 crores. And if that was the France population, they saw a peak of 5 lakh cases per day. India had a population of 135 crore people. So what would imply for India in terms of the peak which India could have observed? It is not the peak which these other set of researchers had sort of come up with through the various statistical model, but the peak could have been as high as 1 crore cases per day. Let us take example of US. US has population approximately 1/4 that of India. It saw, when it had population which is 1/4 that of India, it saw a peak of 13 lakh cases, which implies we could have got a peak of 57 lakh cases. And similarly, if we take UK as an example, we could have got it as high as 44 lakh cases per day. What is generally, and I keep highlighting it in various assignments I have done. I'll give example when I was managing flood in West Godavari district as collector. We sort of took a lot of preventive aspect, and we had lesser number of villages which were getting flooded because we took a lot of drainage management in advance, vis-a-vis in another district where larger number of districts got flooded. And I always would say that you would say nothing has happened in West Godavari, but much more has happened in East Godavari, and more funds for rehabilitation should be given to East Godavari. And I would say, because we took preventive steps, you never gave credit to the government or to the district administration for the preventive aspect of it. So dear friends, what I'm trying to highlight is these were the projection, and they're very scary projection. Delta wave had only 4,14,000 cases per day coming at its peak. And if you assuming if we would have got as high as 30, 40, 50 lakh cases per day as a peak, what would have been the strain on the health system, and what would have been its impact to the comorbid people, to the elderly people in terms of the death which India could have observed. And this is the situation, not luckily India did not observe because of a lot of steps being taken by government, but this is the situation I would really submit is happening across the world right now also. Even today, 15 lakh cases per day is the average number of cases being reported in the world, when the earliest peak was only 9 lakh cases in the world in the third wave across the world. So even now, Omicron variant has not gone down and is still creating havoc across the world, while India has been able to decrease that peak to as low as 3,47,000. So 3,47,000 versus around 40-50 lakh cases per day we could have obtained was the challenge which India had to face. Now, what is that we did? So I would just like to sort of run it through fast. I would be happy to share this presentation also to all our colleagues also. But it was primarily the leadership at Honorable Prime Minister level. Something which Mr. Kuvar also mentioned, that Honorable Prime Minister interacted not with ministry, but with the associated departments and also with the Honorable Chief Ministers of all states to create a whole of government and whole of society approach. Second is the Honorable Health Minister from 25th November onwards. Trust me, every day we meet with all the public health experts. Every day we analyze what happens in the country, what is happening in the world, and what should be our steps which need to be taken. There has been not even a single moment of peace, at least as far as the 2 year, 3 months is concerned. Much what is seen to the world and much what is done in the background, even if there is a lull period, that lull period has always been utilized by government to sort of prepare for any next upcoming challenge also. That is what I would like to submit. And interacting with the health ministers of states, interacting with the Secretary of Health of State has been our regular affair. When we only modified, not also worked on that, we also worked on technical issues of, based on emerging evidence, what type of home isolation guidelines should be there, what type of testing guidelines should be there, what type of guidelines for clinical protocol should be there. Everything was analyzed from a technical perspective, revised. And not only that, we also ensured that utilizing the services of Indian Medical Association, the state government and private doctors, they were all brought on board through series of webinars by AIMS Delhi, and clinical management protocol was widely disseminated across the country. What has been again a major strength for India vis-a-vis other parts of the world? The strength of our ANMs, the strength of our ASHA workers, the strength of our sanitary worker, teacher, and all frontline staff, which formed into special team whenever cases will happen. Unlike the developed part of the world, these people will go house to house, do a call almost on a regular basis to the patient, identify comorbid people within that house, get their testing tied up. And also the fact that this time we did comorbid patient survey across multiple states of the country to identify those people who may be more vulnerable and then monitor them through the field workers. Similarly, the focus on vaccination, I would like to highlight more about vaccination later. And also, how did we created a cascaded network of call centers across the country? Every district had a call center. wherein we requested them to focus on three things. Ensure that as and when public wants support of testing, ambulance or hospital bed, how can they access those services? And as has been talked about, telemedicine platform, when multiple restrictions are in place, how do you access medical services? Now I'm happy to highlight eSanjeevani telemedicine platform is the biggest platform by a margin in the world. We do more than 1.5 lakh teleconsultation per day. But as I would also further like to highlight that I think our potential is to go as high as 10 to 20 lakh consultations per day, wherein these services, the telemedicine calls are made available free to every citizen of this country through this particular national telemedicine platform. And equally important when it comes to management of any infectious disease, it is the Jan Andolan component of working together. We parallelly focused on ensuring that once the evidence came in front of us, that vaccination support in terms of less people getting infected, less severity of the disease and lesser deaths. We focused on three aspects of our management. One is on the containment, so that infection spread can be controlled. Second is on the infrastructure augmentation, so that if a person is sick, either through home isolation or in the hospital, he can be managed. And fourth was also on increasing in a mission mode the vaccination coverage. We also would like to highlight that we had by 31st December, 90% of our eligible population was covered with first dose and 65% of eligible population was covered with second dose, which actually became a major support for us in terms of saving lives during this third surge. And this mission approach of vaccination, we keep on adding other vulnerable groups as suggested by scientific advisory group, whether it is adolescent, whether it is precautionary dose. I'm happy to submit to you that a task of continental proportions, a task which was never unheard of in the world. We, across the world, I will show you through the data once again, that across the world, these many doses have not been given. How the just-in-time approach management has happened, that without a single complaint, 1 year, 4 months, country is consistently providing vaccines across nook and corner of this country. And we have done 181 crore vaccine doses administered. Population above 18 years of age, 97% coverage today with first dose, 84% with second dose, and also now with the population of 12 to 15 years, which has also been added. So consistently there is a focus on ensuring vaccination coverage is increased. I would like to highlight that what was our challenge? Our challenge was to cover the last mile population. Trust me, the efforts which have been done by our frontline workers and the healthcare workers, I can only sort of bow my head in front of them for the efforts done by this country and by our healthcare workers. We had 10 lakh vaccinators who were trained by us. We had 65% of our vaccination centers provided in rural areas. And not only ensuring that vaccination is supplied, and trust me, vaccination supply has multiple components. Every vaccine batch has to be manufactured, after that it has to be tested, after that it has to be sent to state headquarters, from state to district to PSC, and from PSC a vaccinator will take it to the vaccination center, including syringes. Everything was coordinated. We also supported our vulnerable people, whether near to home vaccination centers, whether workplace vaccination centers, whether mobile vaccination teams, and Har Ghar Dastak campaign. Nowhere in the world this type of approach has happened, where our healthcare worker visited and knocked at every house of this country, asking that you have taken the first dose, but you forgot to take your second dose, etc. And you have not taken any dose, kindly take a dose. And this has been the job done by our unsung heroes who cross mountains, towers, deserts on a daily basis to monitor that the vaccination is provided. Dear friends, I would also like to highlight how India not only kept certain milestones, achieved them, but kept on over surpassing its own performance with time. Just to give an example, first 25 crore doses was organized in the country in 145 days. But the next 25 crore doses only took 56 days. And the next another 25 crore doses took another only 34 days. So this has been the momentous effort done by our system today, and based on which we are able to sort of move ahead. This is a very interesting slide. I would request organizers that if I end up taking few minutes more, kindly pardon me, but this is something, I think all of us collectively should be aware. Most of the time we don't talk about this data, but except for few times. But I thought, let me just highlight. If you kindly see the second surge which had happened in May last year versus the third surge which had happened in January this year, few points I would like to highlight. Kindly see, when the projection was that we could have got 40-50 lakh cases per day, we reduced by focusing on containment, vaccination, and clinical management this peak to 3,47,000, much lower than the Delta wave surge which countries had noted. Second point is the second surge took place with 49 days to move up from the 10% number and getting down another 10%, which we can call as end of surge, say 68 days. But here we took only 18 days and 24 days because of extensive focus in terms of our field level work. And this is what data shows. So 170 days in second surge and 42 days in third surge. And parallelly, if we see what was our vaccination coverage, how vaccination supported India. So at the start of the second surge in May last year, we had 10% of our eligible population which was vaccinated. But consistent effort, we increased it to 90.83% at the start of third surge. And fully vaccinated people, which were 2%, we increased that number to 65.4%. How has it helped country? How has efforts towards clinical management as well as containment supported the country? These are the number of deaths which have been reported. As I always mention that any death for the country is a matter of concern. But let us sort of understand that when we are working hard and these many deaths happened, of which only 16,570 deaths were reported during this period. And when these many number of deaths happened and the number of cases reported during this period, dear friends, I would just like to sincerely submit the death rate which India has seen during this Omicron surge management is only as low as 0.02%. And let me also submit to you what has been the death rate of the world of Omicron variant presently across the world. It is 0.45%. So we have been able to manage it 25 to 26 times better in terms of saving lives by working hard. And these are some facts and figures which, as a proud Indian, I would like to submit to you. And I'm sure all of us will collectively sort of understand the effort done by the team at the field level, by everyone in this country. Right now, since the start of pandemic, only 3.16% of our population got affected. World at large is 5.92%. And the developed world, which talks and which tom-toms and which highlights so many things at so many times, you kindly see the facts and figures speak for themselves, how much of the infection spread happened there. Now, let me highlight what is the reason why it has happened. Sometimes people say that India has done probably less testing. Not factually correct. Even today, we are doing 8 lakh tests per day when our test positivity is as low as 0.5, below 5.5%. The number of tests in this country has never reduced. But what has supported us? And why it is the factual thing why we should feel proud? Because unlike other parts of the world, where it is a hospital-based system, here we had disease surveillance platforms. Here we have our disease surveillance network, where ANMs, ASHA workers, district surveillance officers, state surveillance officers, along with the special teams who formed, we did active case search from the start of the pandemic. No one understands this. But I'm sure as Indians, we would have seen people coming to our houses, people calling our relatives, people following with them with respect to identification. How are your symptoms? Is there any person who is your close contact? Has he got tested? This is how India sort of worked towards saving lives and ensuring that the spread of infection does not take place. So this is again the cases per million, what India worked with world and other parts of the world. Similarly, equally important is to focus on deaths per million. Deaths per million in this country has been 379. World at large has been approximately 2 times of this. And the facts and figures are primarily here for all of us to see what has been the status. Other parts of the country, other parts of the world, other countries, they have 8 to 9 times deaths per million vis-a-vis what India has been able to manage. We know that we had all had challenging times, but we also should collectively feel comfortable in the fact that while we face these challenges, we probably were able to manage it relatively better with respect to the challenge which was seen in other parts of the world. Case fatality rate, how many cases died out of how many cases came positive. Our collective fatality rate has been 1.2%. World is 1.3%. And there are countries where it is as high as more than double also with respect to India. I think I would like to submit that it is the tireless efforts of our frontline workers, healthcare workers, which has supported India in managing this so far. Talk about vaccination, 181 crore doses versus if we see what has been given in terms of number of doses across the world. We have, just to give a snapshot of the challenge we had in front of us, we had given first dose to 2.9 times the population of USA and 6.6 times the population of Russia. We have given fully vaccinated people 3 times the population of Brazil and 11.9 times the population of UK. We have ensured that 12 to 14 years also in last 3 days itself 11.68 lakh people covered. And what is the strength of this country? The strength of this country is the concept of Seva Bhav. How do you celebrate the birthday of the Honorable Prime Minister of this country? Not by giving gifts of different kinds, but when country, every state, every vaccinator, everyone gathers together and they say that we will ensure that we'll save lives through the concept of Seva. And trust me, 2.51 crore vaccination doses were given on the single day on the Honorable Prime Minister's birthday, which is equal to the population of Australia. And dear friends, I would really like to humbly submit all these efforts require a lot of background hard work when these things have to happen. And not only that, we also supported whole world through our vaccine Maitri. We supplied 16.24 crore doses across the world to 99 countries. We supplied medicines to 150 plus countries across the world. And we also ensured that our IT platform is made available free to world so as to manage vaccination of this scale. We supported states through multitudes of funding support so that they can increase the infrastructure. I would, in short, like to mention about Ayushman Bharat Health Infrastructure Mission, where 64,000 crore has recently been sanctioned, with a view that not only we manage COVID-19, but we also keep our country future-proof when it comes to management of any pandemic or infectious disease. Now, what is the road ahead in front of us? My friend and colleague, Kunwar Singh Saab has already highlighted, but I would just like to sort of highlight few points. The focus on healthcare has now been brought into forefront. Now it is an important agenda. We know that health cannot be neglected. And it is at this time, India has taken a center stage across the world through drugs as well as vaccines being made available. And also the fact that India's prowess through the scientific temperament, research and collaboration has been highlighted. I feel the support, the capability which India has in terms of doing quality research at much lower cost than any other country in the world, India has the potential to emerge as the research hub for the world. Similarly, equally important, it is in this country that at 1/10 of the cost, you can get the best tertiary level treatment and with effectively no waiting time vis-a-vis 1 year, 1.5 year waiting time in the most developed nations of the world at times, that we feel that India can actually bring this concept of heal in India, medical value travel, and our healthcare services can be touted as one of the best set of services which can be made available and support the world at large. Equally important, the concept of integrated medicine. What have we to offer to world? We can offer our traditional medicine, link it with the modern medicine and create this concept of integrated medicine with a holistic care concept can also be delivered. I would on the end like to submit that this is also post-COVID era can also be the time, which is what Honorable Prime Minister says, that based on our ancient philosophy of Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, that is whole world is one family, we can continue and we can support the overall initiative across the world in a manner of one earth and one family approach and create that impact for the world to watch. So dear friends, I would like to stop here, and I am sure that I might have taken time more than what is mandated to me, but with an intention that I'm able to sort of put the issues across, I took that time. Thank you very much.
Just a very important point he raised, so I thought I should intervene in between. I will take the liberty on the same. In inaugural sessions, generally it is allowed. So thank you very much, Agrawal sir. And a very important thing, what you mentioned in your last 2 points, where I thought I should speak something. Center for Traditional Medicine and Integrated Medicine. Exactly this is what is required. We have an Ayurvedic medical college, you are aware of that. The same way we have a Center for Yoga and Naturopathy, we are offering a BNYS program, 5.5 year program. But that integration has to be seen by the policymakers also. So I'm taking this opportunity on this platform that yes, this is what is required. Honorable Prime Minister is talking about. We all are talking about. We know that if we have to make a holistic healthcare system in the world, then we have to do a lot with our traditional medicine system also. And then only, I believe, one Earth, One Health can be fulfilled, the vision of our Prime Minister. Thank you for raising this point. Thank you for mentioning this point. Sorry, Shweta, over to you.
No, sir, don't say sorry here because this was actually required. And Love, sir, you will not believe, while going through, I was seeing every day on you on TV and going through all the reports, what is happening in India, because it's not only me, complete India, it was a nation call. And I am very patriotic person. While running this, I should not say this on the inauguration panel, but while seeing your presentation, literally the goosebumps were there, and I was like, wow, we as India have done so much. So thank you through this platform. Thank you to all healthcare workers and all government people whom we have not recognized. I think many of us have not recognized day and night they have given to make this successful. Thank you so much from the team, from Complete India, I would say right now. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Lobsar, so much for taking out your precious time in joining our conference. We are really, really glad to have you. Now, I would like to request Dr. Raj Narayan Tiwari, Director, Social and Preventive Medicine, ICMR, National Institute for Research in Environmental Health, Bhopal, to address the gathering. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Vaishali. Good morning, everyone. At the outset, I am grateful to the organizer to have given me the opportunity to talk to this very august audience. And I also congratulate the organizer because the theme for this conference, life care and life sciences and healthcare management, is very apt to the current scenario where we are struggling with the pandemic since last 24 months odd, and the importance of healthcare management cannot be a better topic for the current scenario. We have heard our great achievements in controlling in the COVID control program which India runs successfully, and not only for the India, but it emerged as a global leader on that front. And as our guest of honor also highlighted that this has posed the challenge also that we should think of realigning our healthcare system to tackle such scenarios in the future. The importance of realignment is further highlighted when we see that when we were more proactive during the first wave and the second wave and the third wave, we could very successfully handle those two waves. But we were a bit, this is my opinion, that we were a bit reactive during the second wave, and thus we were only managed it fairly. A lot of criticism has come up, but then when such is a shortcomings, but then we learned from that, and in the third wave we were successfully managed the third wave. And as highlighted that, in fact, we were the best when you compare with the major developed countries across the globe in handling their scenarios in their country. This also has posed a challenge that everybody is relaxed more so for the developed country, and so is India, that we thought that where a bulk of our communicable diseases are successfully handled, and so we are entering into the phase of non-communicable disease. But such type of emerging epidemics usually pose challenge that no, infection disease hasn't gone anywhere, and we have to be prepared for these conditions also. And so that was another way we have to think of realigning our healthcare system. But more importantly, being an occupational health and environmental health scientist, I would require your attention to two important issues. Now, we all know that during this pandemic, the healthcare workers played a significant role in our successful program. But if you see, the occupational health issues of the healthcare worker I think we have to do a lot more. Now, what basically occupational health says that we should have a healthy workforce at each place of work. Same is true for the healthcare setup also through promotion, prevention, and protection principles. But if you see in our scenario, we do not have any such program to protect our healthcare workers. So we learn through newspaper fire incidents and other things that are happening in number of hospitals. But then, we have any safety program for the healthcare workers? No, we did. But then these are some basic keys, basic. Another thing is that whenever we think of occupational health issues of these workers, the first thing which comes to our mind is that they have a variety of infections, and that is true also, which has been substantiated during this COVID pandemic, where number of healthcare workers, they acquired infection and succumbed to that infection. But then we always forget that there are multiple other exposures which are taking place at the healthcare setup. Say the waste anesthetic gases. A lot of operations are being done and in operation theaters where anesthetists are there, the surgeons are there, the other attendant or other surgery attending staff is there. But then they are working in a closed chamber where they are exposed to these chemicals like waste anesthetic gases or sterilant gases, or for example, simple mercury. Thank God, with the concerted effort of the WHO and our system, that we have gradually phased the mercury-based equipments from our healthcare sector. But then still, if you go to the peripheral, still they are being used. So these are certain chemicals to which they are exposed, and nobody think about these type of exposure, which in a long run affect their health also. A lot has been told about the mental health issues, and this COVID has proven that it has the mental health implications also. The studies done by ICMR, the studies done by other Indian researchers also highlighted that around 1/4 to 1/5 of these healthcare workers, they suffer from anxiety disorders, they suffer from the COVID has highlighted it, but then if you see in their day-to-day work setup, this is an ongoing phenomenon.
Dr. Tiwari,
yes,
yes, sir. Love sir want to have some comment. So can we just on your presentation?
So Anu, kindly, I think Dr. Tiwari, 1 minute from others. One thing in person. That's it. Sorry, I want to only intervene after your speech is over, please.
So mental health has been highlighted, and it has also affected the healthcare workers while working with the COVID patient, while working with the extended hours of work. So that is another issue. Newer exposures, newer hazards like workplace violence. Every now and then we hear that some patient has bitten some doctor or a nurse, and then they go on strike. So these are sort of mental trauma, workplace stress, which these doctors are facing. Now we have law for the minimum duty hours for other industry, for other workers. But being a sensitive issue, health being a sensitive issue, care of a patient being a sensitive issue, we do not have such mechanism for the healthcare workers. Even if we have it, but then looking into the scenario, looking into the sensitivity of the issue, many times this is extended. And so such extended hours of work in such a highly charged up, emotional charge up scenario gives a lot of mental trauma to these healthcare workers. So the occupational health issues of these healthcare workers who are an important stakeholders in the entire healthcare management is an important issue which need to be addressed on the forefront also, because this becomes more important because we are still sort of the global ratio of patient health manpower ratio, and so this species become a precious species which we have to preserve. No doubt in the last 5 to 7 years we have made lot of achievement with respect to increasing our health manpower through opening a number of medical colleges, number of nursing colleges, and training our manpower. But then so long as we reach the optimal ratio, looking into our vast population, we have to preserve this species also. Another issue which I would like your attention is the environmental hazards which the healthcare setup has brought in. And we were fortunate enough that during the COVID time, we need not to import our PPE, our protective devices from any other country. We are self-sufficient, and we have developed those facilities in our country. But then that has also resulted into generation of lot of biomedical waste. Now, the studies by Central Pollution Control Board has suggested that during that pandemic time, the waste generation, biomedical waste generation has gone many folds, 3 to 4 times higher than the pre-COVID period, around 203 tons per day generation of these PPE or biomedical waste has done. Further, if you see many of our states, they do not have the safe disposal of these biomedical waste which is generated in the hospital. Some of the states like Bihar, like Jharkhand, or Uttarakhand, they even 72% of these waste is not even segregated. So not only which is posing the problem to the general population, but also to the people who are handling those type of waste. So this is another challenge which such type of pandemics or such type of events pose. And we know that how India is leading the world in environmental management, be it Swachh Bharat Mission, be it Solar Alliance, be it Ujjwala scheme. So we are the leader, and so we should also tackle these type of environmental issue which is contributed by the healthcare sector. So my point, and it is because I have that love for these occupational health and environmental health issues and working for that. So these issues also need to be addressed when we are thinking from the broad perspective of healthcare management. So I will stop here sharing my view. Thank you.
Thank you. So I think I have been permitted by the organizers, and I take liberty from our colleague also, Dr. Tiwari.
Good morning.
So, Dr. Saab, I just wanted to add a small point. I mean, the point is, again, let me start by humbly submitting that as far as the healthcare workers of this country vis-a-vis other parts of the world are concerned, we have seen that our healthcare workers are under almost the maximum try to incidents and newspaper reports from different parts of the world where medical workers didn't even report to duty. We had in this country where medical workers of all categories, not only doctors, even ANMs also, every one of them did not go back to their home for more than months together and kept on serving our community. That is point number one I want to submit. On the issue of second wave, because always time remain limited and we don't want to sort of highlight through data too much also, but I would just like to very, very humbly submit. This was the challenge whole world faced. We had a major challenge, let us understand it. We also had similar challenge across the world. I am only able to submit to you very humbly is that the overall management which India still did, because even in Omicron, we don't talk about it much, which I submitted today, is that even in that also our performance vis-a-vis other parts of the world was not as bad as generally media at times had sort of projection, because yes, there were challenges we need to understand. But did anyone know that there will be crisis of oxygen? Did anyone know that September of 2020, the oxygen demand in the country was 1,000 metric tons and it had gone to 10,000 metric tons? Did anyone know that even that 10,000 metric ton demands were met What had not happened in 50 years were done in 6 months. Whether it was import of oxygen, whether it was again ensuring that the industrial oxygen was converted to medical oxygen, whether it is buying cylinders and oxygen concentrator, making available across the country, we had challenges. Let us admit that. But we also had risen to the task, whether it was the use of our railways to ensure that our oxygen cylinder, the trucks can be transported in early time, whether it was utilizing our air force to take our empty tankers and drop them to the place where the oxygen is being produced so that we can save 2 days' time. The whole country was at it. And I again bow my head. I am willing to sincerely submit to you. When we were managing oxygen at that time, Mr. Mahapatra, who was the concerned secretary rank officer, who was chairman of that empowered group, he was himself positive. He was very senior. And when Honorable Prime Minister was having his discussion on oxygen management, he attended it from the ICU wards of AIIMS Delhi to ensure that the country can be saved. He lost his life. I'm sure all of us are aware of it. So, the efforts done by this country, they are humongous. We had challenges, let us admit that. But those challenges, how they were managed, is of a proportion which this country and across the world, there are not many parallels. I just would like to submit that point because, that point is very important. You and me collectively as citizens need to understand that even now, when cases are down, the whole team is right now also working. What may be the new challenge? Are we ready for that? So those efforts were done. And when unprecedented challenges are thrown to the country has risen to manage those. But obviously, these were the challenges of once in a century type of challenges. So they will definitely pose those challenges to us. So I just wanted to humbly submit that point. Thank you, Doctor.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rajnarayan sir, for your submissions. Now I would like to welcome and request Professor Kanan Krishnamurthy, proprietor KK Biotech, Faridabad, to enlighten all of us with his knowledgeable thoughts. Professor K. Kanan has been regarded as one of the pioneers of biotechnology in India, and his contribution has been significant in school education, college education, industry, and national laboratories of CSIR. His path-breaking contribution on the molecule abiquitin is often quoted not only in India but also in USA and Europe. Professor Kanan did his BSc Honours in Chemistry from Delhi University, MSc Chemistry from IIT Bombay, and PhD Biochemistry from Mysore University. He is a recipient of prestigious National Science Talent Scholarship in year 1970. He worked on buffalo milk proteins and developed the first protein sequencing laboratory in India at CFTRI Mysore during 1975 to 1978. As a PhD student, he built a very sensitive amino acid analyzer to detect femtomore range when other similar machines did at nanomolar level internationally. He developed protein characterization techniques using less than 1 mg of proteins in 70s. Sir, over to you.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here, and I hope you can hear me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can
You're
you hear
audible.
me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, in the end, I would like to make a comment on this title because my perspective is a bit different, so I wouldn't like to comment right now because that's what has been given to me, so I accept it. But I want to begin as Love Agrawal beautifully said it. So I think today it is very important that coming together is a beginning to inspire. I think COVID has inspired many of us, so many of us came together. Another is keeping together is progress because we created ideas and then try to, so the keeping together makes us think of solutions or ideas, and working together is success. That's how we implement. I think I must compliment the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, the way they went about the whole thing, and I think this aptly describes in 2 years what they have done, and I just thought I must acknowledge this, and I think all of us should keep this point in mind. Okay. Another important thing, because today is on health management, I don't know how many of you have known what was the average life of a human being before 1900. You will be surprised to know the average life was only 25. Today we are 70. So, something must have happened which increased our half life. COVID is a one on off incident, but this was average before 1900, that very few remained. Okay. And okay. Second is, when I was a student in school, I was always fascinated how did one measure that we have 5.5 liters of blood in our human body. Because the only way I knew is you take out the blood and measure it in a measuring cylinder. But if you take out the blood, the patient will die. And the third one which I was puzzled was, how do you count the number of blood cells in our body? Because they said there are billions of cells, and when one of the slides when I come to, I'll show you what it does. Now, I also want to emphasize that the science policy has been very clear in the country, and innovation has been part of the science and technology innovation in the first policy of 1958. I also want to add that the 5th National Science Technology Policy draft has already been, January was the last day to submit. Because of the COVID, the government came up with this thing to march ahead on a sustainable development pathway to include economic development, social inclusion and environmental sustainability for achieving Atmanirbhar Bharat. The greater emphasis may be needed on promoting tradition also. I am very glad that the country's policy makers have made this very clear, and everybody was talking about it, but I think it is part of the policy which I want all of you to be aware. So, it is nothing new. Everybody says this should be done, that should be done, but I think our policy has taken care of this, and I must compliment the policy makers to think of it during this crisis. And COVID-19 pandemic has also provided a compelling opportunity for R&D institution, academia, industry to work in unison for sharing of purpose, synergy, collaboration and cooperation. So, when people say we do it, I think it is part of our job. It is part of the science policy. So, I want to emphasize that it is, if somebody is saying it is not their idea, the government has taken care of it. Before I go, I said average life before 1900 was 25. And I just want to mention an Indian whom many of you may not even have heard of, because he died very early, and what all he did as a scientist. So, I just want to quickly take you through this. So, he was the first guy, one of the early biochemists who went to do PhD in Harvard. He developed a phosphate estimation method, which is one of the most well-known method in the world. He is known Fiske and Subarov method, and then he did some basic biochemistry. But I want to shift. He joined Lederle as head of R&D, chief of R&D, and you wouldn't believe penicillin was the first one which was in great demand. It was discovered, but there was no way to manufacture it on a mass scale. So, USA was the country which supported the British group of Howard Florey to develop large scale manufacturing, because many soldiers were dying not because of the injury, but because of infection. And penicillin was the first one, I can tell you, which has sort of made in last, so that lot of lives were saved. So, because this topic was on that. Then interestingly, Subarao also made a penicillin which was better than what Florey's group had originally done. But what I want to say is, penicillin being a narrow range of antibiotic, he went on to discover what is called aureomycin, or what we call as tetracycline, which is a broad spectrum antibiotic. Another thing which he contributed was folic acid. As you know, every pregnant woman is asked to take folic acid, because if a normal baby is to be born, folic acid is very important. He also discovered hetrazone, which was for filariasis, which is very common in the country. So, what I am saying is, like him, there are so many others who have contributed, and that is why our life has gone up from 25 to now 70 in the country. So, every path has resulted in something. And I just want to show you, it is one of the most cited papers when there were no internets. So, I think I just want you to know about it. And Indian had contributed sitting in America to save lives, but remained in India. He was an Indian passport holder till his death at the, in 1948 at a young age. So, I just want to know that this is the kind of approach I want that our scientists also follow. Okay. Because the time is limited, I am just going to jump into another area, and I think just to give you an idea of what this concept is, our body all has started from a single egg which is fertilized, and we have created a human being, and average human being has 10 to the power 14 cells per human being on the average. And these stem cells are the ones which are doing, as Kubarji was trying to talk about, the Brahma, Vishnu, Maheshwara, all these cells are being created, they are being propagated, they are being destroyed, so that the cell number is maintained. So as you can see, there is always a mother stem cells which all of us have been looking for. And I have done a simple calculation, and I have found that there must be about 218 218 type of cells in our body. And these 218 type of cells are actually made from about, say, 40 mother stem cells, and you will explain what it is. And I also want you to know that the concept of stem cells exist in plants as well as in animal, but they are quite different, and that you should be aware of. And today a lot of focus is happening on finding out the mysterious stem cells which can solve a lot of problems. Just to give you an idea, I have done a lot of work on this particular field, and I just want to bring you that the hematopoietic system is the most interesting one. So what it does, unlike other cells, these cells are unique in the sense when they divide into two, one remains a stem cell, the other cell differentiate to give two lineages. One is called myeloid progenitors, the other is the lymphoid progenitors, and which in turn tries to give rise to our red blood cells, mast cells, bioblast, the whole range of things. Now, one of the efforts has been during COVID is to improve this natural killer system, so that we don't have to always depend and allow the natural immunity to work, and when this goes down, the person is affected by COVID or any of the other viral infections which may happen. So this is an area which is very important, and the country should focus on various types of stem cells, because if somebody has thalassemia, one of the problems which we have in our country is, we have thalassemia patients, we have sickle cell anemia patients, and all these people can be made free of stem cell, free of thalassemia or sickle cell anemia by a technique called bone marrow transplantation. So you can take a good healthy hematopoietic stem cells and inject it to the patient. I won't go into the details of it, and after about 6 weeks the body starts making its own cell and the person is free of thalassemia. As a health in the field of health, the country has a big disease burden when we have genetic disorders, and one of the effort the government is trying to do is to bring down this. So how do we do that? So before that, I also want to know that you to know that I was telling how do you count billions of cells, and that is where statistics becomes very important. And it is amazing that it was discovered by a guy called Neubar using a chamber called Neubar chamber. If you dilute the blood from 1 to 150 times and put it into the Neubar chamber and count the cells, you can arrive at the number of cells which the body has. But India has been very fortunate to produce one of the two most brilliant statisticians. One is P.C. Mahalanobis, who was responsible for our first 2 5-year plan, and C.R. Rao, he is the living legend. He is 101 years old, and after he retired, the country didn't use him, so he went off to USA. Now he is a USA citizen, and he has several institutes called multivariate analysis. I also want to say that India has been very fortunate to have philanthropists. Has been very fortunate. We have been very fortunate to have philanthropists. Somebody is playing. Can I ask them to switch off? Yeah. So we had the Maharani of Mysore who gave the land for Institute of Science Bangalore. We have had Tatas who gave money. So we have philanthropists. If there is an idea,
bro.
And we also have created
Ohio. What the fuck is up, niggers?
Can you?
Не позабудем, где мы жить не будем.
Organizer,
can you switch it off?
Не страшна нам бомбежка.
please.
Есть у нас еще дом. нас еще дома дела.
Hello?
Nigger, 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 nigger,
Nigger, nigger, nigger, nigger,
nigger, nigger,
nigger,
nigger,
nigger,
nigger, nigger,
nigger,
nigger, nigger, nigger, nigger, nigger, nigger, nigger, nigger.
nigger, 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 fag, nigger, fag, nigger, nigger, nigger.
По путям, дорогам
Nigger,
фронтовым.
nigger, 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 nigger.
You're black. Shut the fuck up. I have a question. I have a question. I have a question. Sorry.
Pero I'm cracker balls. Cracker balls.
Дорожка. Охраном, кондуктор,
Nigger.
есть у нас еще дома
Ew.
дела, а
I am like a
помирать нам.
The recording has stopped.